But anyway, Tyrion Cuthbert. Yeah, last case was mildly disappointing. It was a lot shorter than case 2. Case 1 was 4 hours. Case 2 was 8 hours. Case 3 was 6 hours. So there was that. And there was also the fact that it didn't even start with a murder. We spent the first half of that case just establishing that it wasn't a factory accident, and then we got onto it being a murder. And that was all just like, oh, Rika saw an arcane construct, at which point the murderer immediately speaks up and gets busted. So it was a little shallow. It was alright. It just wasn't as good as the second case, or, in my opinion, even the first case. What it really did do was a little bit of world building, though, because I have a feeling the stuff that came up in the third case is going to be relevant later. We've met Arya's betrothed. We've met Oster. We've found out that Iris is the daughter of the Eye Taker, which is an interesting play on words because Iris's name basically means eye, and her father is the Eye Taker. So I wonder if that's going to lead to anything, or if that's just more Ace Attorney punagry. There's also the fact that they did steal that boat. I wonder if that's going to come up later, or why they targeted that particular boat, or things like that. We got to visit Tyrion's, well, where he grew up. And a few other little tidbits that just sort of arose during the last case that I'm sure will come up later. I'm hoping we get to do some more, interesting stuff this time. We theorized, from the look of our new plaintiff, that she might be a member of House Frege because she bears a striking resemblance to Miriam. Speculating a mother or an older sister or some other relative or just a member of the house. Who knows? But, severed ties. Perhaps this is someone that wants to leave the noble family as well. Or is having some second thoughts in similar ways that Arya is, because Arya's kind of doing her own thing separate from her house, too. In a way, yes and no. We don't really know her whole story. But I am enjoying this game. I'm just going to say that right away. I am quite impressed with the care that has been going into this game and its characters and the mechanics and all that stuff. Again, it's not perfect. It could use a little more polish, but it's a solid A. I am enjoying myself, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So, without further ado, let's get into case number 4. Severed Ties. What's this going to be about? Blip, blip, blip. Oh, okay, here's something I was wondering about. Would we ever see either a prosecutor or a defense attorney swap? Would we ever see, like, a, you know, how we swap Miles Edgeworth for Manfred von Karma, or Francesca for Miles, or something like that? Someone else coming in, or ourselves in some way being replaced. And it looks like that might be happening, and it might be happening. I have a feeling this is going to be a flashback. All of a sudden, I have this funny feeling right now that we're going to be playing as Ruby, and we're going to be defending someone from House Frege, and we're going to get some information as to why Ruby is on so many people's bad side. I wonder if that's what's about to happen. Maybe we don't even see Tyrion in this case. Okay, but yeah. New story, new direction. What's going to happen? Up until now, we've been following the story of Tyrion Cuthbert. We've experienced the world through his very weird eyes and fought for justice through his soul. But this time, why don't we start from the perspective of another? Is it going to be someone really weird? Is it going to be really out of left field? Are we going to be playing as Iris? Severed Ties. It is Ruby, okay. I can't believe Cuthbert read the client's mind without asking, okay, is this a flashback or is it current? It's starting to become a problem. He's becoming more and more reckless with each passing year. I wish Frey was still alive. She would know what to do. I wonder if Ruby and Frey knew each other. She made it look so effortless and he loved her. Okay, probably did. Would he have listened to her if she was still here? God, this is such an Ace Attorney song. Beatrice Frege. Okay, well, we called that rather quickly. So she is a member of House Frege. That wasn't surprising. She really looks like Miriam, especially the hair. Alright, Frege, what'd you do? Maybe this will be a short case. Because that's how this sometimes works if we're going by Ace Attorney rules. Is this going to be a one-streamer again? We're either going to play until this case is over or for at least 4 hours. Let's see what goes. Is something the matter, Tymora? No, I was just thinking about something. Well, the trial is about to begin. I don't doubt your abilities, but I'd still appreciate it if you remained focused. All of our futures are at stake, after all. Of course, Miss Frege. Hey, Fregs. Occupation, freelancer. That's interesting, occupation for a noble? Whoa! I just got slapped. Beatrice takes in a deep breath before she claps her hands together. Okay, she's clapping. You could have at least given her a clapping sprite like Pearl has. What's wrong? Nothing. It's just a ritual I used to calm myself. Kind of like Apollo yelling, I feel fine. My name is Apollo and I'm fine. My name is Frege and I'm clapping. Right, I suppose we all deal with stress differently. But more importantly... You! What are you doing? That is an amazing question! Get out of my chapter! Stop it! Stop going places. This woman is like the Deadpool of this game. She's just like, I want to be here now. Can I be in this chapter? I don't get enough screen time. Hi! Hi, how are you? Psy'Min! Psy'Min, say hi to chat for me. Iris! What the piss? What are you doing here? My father sent me to guide Beatrice through the courthouse. So, again, Ruby is the Hound of the Eye Taker. Is that going to be what this trial is about? And again, is this a flashback? Well, wait a minute. If this is a flashback, then would Ruby have recognized Iris in the library? Maybe this isn't a flashback. Maybe this is a current. My father sent me to guide Beatrice through the courthouse. It's a new environment for her, and we were both worried about her condition. I still can't believe you were the boss's daughter this entire time. Okay, Ruby is referring to the Eye Taker as the boss. Yeah, we're definitely getting into it here. Iris. Iris, why? I still can't believe you were the boss's daughter this entire... Yeah, neither can we. Why didn't you say anything at the academy? Okay, so this is afterwards. This is after case 2 and probably after case 3. Why didn't you say anything at the academy? I should really say it's Eris, not Iris, but it's close enough to Eris. It's Eris. Oh? Knowing my true identity would have caused friction with your son, wouldn't it? He's not my... Anyway, I suppose I understand why you stayed quiet, but I still don't appreciate being kept in the dark about this. Oh, speak of the devil. We spot Cuthbert and McCoy walking into the courtroom with the other members of the gallery. Oh, are we actually still defending as Tyrion, but we're just being Ruby? Are we gonna watch this from a third-person perspective? That would be weird. McCoy spots us and gives us a friendly yet awkward smile. However, Tyrion ignores me entirely and walks silently into the courtroom. Is there some tension? Parental troubles? We had an argument earlier. It's nothing to worry about. If you say so. We are wary about what he saw in Beatrice's mind, though. Ah, we're a little bit in medias res here. He's always been a good kid, but his idealistic sense of justice clouds his judgment sometimes. We just hope he's not planning to do anything reckless. Ah, hello, Arya, I should say. The trial is about to begin. Do you really have the time to be making small talk here? Way too many female voices that Psy'Min is being called on to do here. I'm not about it. Prosecutor Steelwind approaches the three of us. But she appears to be accompanied by someone else? What the hell are you doing here? Okay, already we're getting the callbacks. Like, I've been streaming this for 5 minutes. But she appears to be accompanied by someone else. Why are you here, Wallace? Nightgrave, is that you? What are you doing here? Well, he's accompanying me as my aide for this case. That is a very curious choice for an aide. I see. So I assume you'll be prosecuting. Of course. I would never pass up the opportunity to face the infamous Ruby Tymora. Really? If I recall correctly, you haven't even beat Tyrion once so far. Yeah, take that. Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. This is actually a choice they made in Ace Attorney, because Miles Edgeworth was the attorney in the first case, and he was just going to be the prosecutor, but the designers were like, wait a minute, we can't keep saying Miles is this kick-ass star prosecutor if Phoenix keeps wiping the floor with him, so that's why they started introducing other prosecutors. and Miles was only brought in every now and then for special circumstances. In fact, he even got to be the defense attorney that one time. I believe Francesca wasn't even supposed to be in Justice for All until like 2 weeks before the game was supposed to be published or something ridiculous like that. It was a really tight time frame where people were just like, wait a minute, this doesn't really make sense. Can't we make another prosecutor? And they had to work fast. But yeah. Arya, yeah, get humbled. You're gonna talk smack to me? Have you won any cases at all yet, young lady? Miss Steelwood, don't strain yourself. Hello, Beatrice. What's that look for, Beatrice? That's literally the sprite she's been using for everything there, Arya. You almost look surprised to see me here. Considering the circumstances, I thought you might recuse yourself. I am more than capable of being objective. Oh? Why would you not be objective? You're glad she was in it? She's your third favorite prosecutor? Who's your second? After, Blackwell, of course. I'm guessing Miles? Especially for a case of this much importance. Well, I hope your mind is as strong as you think. Clavier. Yes, that's right. I knew that. I completely forgot about it. Clavier slips my mind completely. I forget he even exists. I don't dislike him. I just forget he's there. I don't know why. But he is a cool dude. I hope your mind is as strong as you think it is. Pissed face. Miss Steelwind, please calm down. Oh, how I love a good reunion. Eris is just a shit disturber. She is just here for the drama. She's got popcorn and everything. And Ruby's just tired of it already. Edgeworth is your fourth favorite. Fair. You'll have to let me know what you think of, what's his face? The Reaper of the Veil, when you get around to Great Ace Attorney. Court is now in session for the trial of Beatrice Frege, because he's a fun one too. Miss Steelwind, is the prosecution ready? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not even ready. Of course, Arya is distracted. Interesting. We know nothing about this case. We're going in blind, so I do wonder if this is going to be a short one. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. We are playing as Ruby. Ah, okay. So we're in Trials and Tribulations mode. We're playing as Armia. The defense is also ready, Your Honor. Something seems off about her today. Is her personal attachment to this case distracting her? Is Oster involved in this? What's going on? Very well, let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, could you please list the charges? Yes, please do. Your Honor, the defendant is charged with first-degree murder and grand theft. Well, that's, excessive. As many of you know, except for Psy'Min in the chat, Beatrice Frege is the formerly missing daughter of the now-late William Frege. Oh! Are we gonna find out what house Celeste is from? Because I still feel like she's been abandoned by a noble. As many of you know, Beatrice Frege is the formerly missing daughter of the now-late William Frege. Okay, we're gonna have to pay attention. Every sentence here is gonna be packed. And the victim of the murder is William Frege himself. Oh, that's why he's not with us anymore. Very interesting. Okay. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Yeah, this sounds like a scandalous one already. The people of Wivengard will certainly mourn the loss of House Frege's head. So, please, the only people mourning him are the banking house's shareholders. But anyway, did you also say that the defendant is accused of grand theft? Yes, Your Honor. The crimes took place during the Lord's Ball, an event that was hosted in Frege Manor yesterday evening. The Heraldson Hall of History has a grand display within the manor. They were showcasing several magical artifacts donated to the Wivengard Historical Society. One of these items was the Sword of Spell Eating. Interesting. A magical artifact that allows its wielder to nullify magical effects. Well, that's going to factor into something in some way. The Sword of Spell Eating is an ancient artifact. When wielded by a creature, that creature and anything connected to them, physically or magically, are immune to all harmful magical effects. Legends say that it was forged through a blood contract between a mage and a demon. Is that last sentence going to be relevant? Sword of Spell Eating has been added to your notes. You feel like you've already ranted about your least favorite enough. Yeah, I know. I get it. We, the prosecution, believe that the defendant stole this item. She then used it to nullify the magical lock on the victim's study. After breaking into the study, she attacked the victim and slashed his throat open using a letter opener. Damn. But not the sword. He died of blood loss shortly after. Well then, you are a very square head. Died at 3:12 a.m., so very early in the morning. Cause of death was blood loss after his throat was slashed open. Both carotid arteries were severed, meaning that death must have followed mere seconds after the wound was inflicted. So no time for a dying message. Body shows several scratch marks on the face and back. Traces of illusion magic were also found on the body. Interesting, I see. But what possible motive would the defendant have to murder her own father? William Frege and his daughter were not close. Saying that they had a strained relationship would be an understatement. In fact, 5 years prior to the murder, Beatrice abandoned and fled her home. She went into hiding and did not contact any of her friends or family. Her whereabouts were unknown, until she suddenly contacted her father a week ago. Oh, we can slam the desk too. Hell, we slam harder than Tyrion. My client left the Frege household because of her toxic relationship with her father. She wanted to create a life for herself that was free from his influence and abuse. I won't disagree with your claims, but that just highlights how desperate the defendant must have been. She had clearly fallen on hard times and begrudgingly contacted her father for financial aid. I can't possibly understand why they would schedule this meeting during the Lord's Ball. Oh, what's this Lord's Ball thing they keep mentioning? But nevertheless, several witnesses did see her that night. And these same witnesses saw her storming out of her father's study in anger. Her father must have refused her request for gold, so she decided to murder him to claim his inheritance. Luckily, we prepared for this in advance. Yes, they're playing right into our hands, or are they now? You think that. You think that, but they know that they're playing into your hands, and they're prepared for them playing into your hands, because you're playing into their hands. William Frege's inheritance? Question mark? Okay, here we go. Beatrice Frege fled from her family 5 years ago and went into hiding. In retaliation, William Frege told Miriam Frege that he would remove Beatrice from his will. As a result, she wouldn't receive any inheritance after his death. As per our agreement, this testimony will be confirmed by Miriam Frege in court. All right. And we're just getting a lot of stuff thrown at us here. What you're saying is all conjecture, Steelwind. You don't have any evidence or testimony that confirms what they spoke about. Yes, I'm well aware that you and your client have refused to tell us what was discussed during that meeting. But as long as you both stay silent, my claims are plausible. Oh, there's a grin. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, there we go. I like that sprite. See, sometimes I complain about the sprites and the eyes are a little bit weird. That's a charming sprite. That's a smug sprite. That's a, oh, I am in the catbird seat now sprite. Be honest, Steelwind, do you seriously think that my client committed these crimes in spite of her condition? What condition is that? Condition? What do you mean by that, Miss Tymora? Why don't you tell him, Steelwind? Tell the court about my client's disability. Your Honor, Beatrice Frege is considered legally disabled. However, legally disabled? That's a convenient way of putting it, Steelwind. Where is this going? Tell me she's blind. My client isn't just legally disabled. She is blind! Oh, okay. I called the hell out of that. Damn. She's completely blind. There's probably magic you can do to fix that or something. I don't know. Everything's magic in this game. Completely blind? Is this true? We have several medical documents and testimony from several chirurgeons attesting to that fact. What the hell is a chirurgeon? I'm pretty sure I'm not just forgetting an English word here. I'm not coffining this. Is that like a magic surgeon? What the hell is a chirurgeon? My client is unable to see anything. Yeah, I think that goes beyond legal disability. She's straight up blind. Boy, she must have had a rough life, just leaving her family to go it on her own when she can't see. She's unable to see anything through her eyes. This has been verified through several medical reports and qualified chirurgeons. Chirurgeons. Hang on. Is this like a medieval surgeon or something? I'll be damned. Chirurgeon is a thing. It's literally just a medieval surgeon. A chirurgeon means a surgeon. A chirurgeon. but it's an archaic term for surgeon. I'm not sure if I'm saying that word right, so I'm just going to call them surgeons until there's some reason to make a distinction between the two. What is the meaning of this, Miss Steelwind? Do you expect me to believe that a blind woman performed any of the acts you're accusing her of? I'm glad you also see how ridiculous these claims are, Your Honor. Sorry you're late, you got pizza. You hardly need to apologize. Welcome to the stream. If the court would just let me elaborate... Oh, Ruby is just running over her. It's like, see, woman, this is the difference between experience and rookie, okay? I am just gonna drive all over you with this. Steelwind, the prosecution's first charge is grand theft. My client would have needed to break into a magically secured display case. Performing such an act would be a difficult task for anyone, much less my client. We're not even letting her talk. And the second charge is first-degree murder. My client would have needed to use the sort of spell eating on the lock leading to the victim's study. Just got done eating steak and stir-fry. Nice! I haven't made stir-fry in a while. Then she would have needed to grab a letter opener, overpower the victim, and deliver a precise and fatal blow to the victim's neck. Does any of that sound like a reasonable theory, Your Honor? I'm compelled to agree with you, Miss Tymora. Holy shit, is this what it looks like to see a competent defense attorney? God damn, I'm ready to pass a verdict right now. It all sounds quite ludicrous, to be perfectly honest. Also, why is Wallace here? I gotta know. Like, why is he helping? This is just awful. The Steelwinds are clearly just attacking the Fregas now that their head is deceased.
Objection!
Let me talk! Enough! Your Honor, the court has not seen the evidence that supports this case. Nor have you listened to the Inquisition's testimony regarding their investigation. Until you have done so, you are in no position to pass judgment. It is a pro versus a rookie, exactly. So, I mean, Steelwind's no pushover, but you can tell that Ruby's just like, hey, I've been doing this for years. Watch me go. Very well, Miss Steelwind. I suppose you have a point. I guess the young lady has some claws after all. But it doesn't matter. Their case against Beatrice is questionable at best. Frankly, it's surprising that Steelwind even went through with this. I'm sure that Steelwind's got a trump card or two as well. It's only a matter of time before the judge sees things my way. To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orium White to the stand. Ah, yes, this paragon of competence. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings. Right. Please don't call me out on anything I'm about to say. It's getting old. We didn't want to cause panic after the sword was stolen, so we activated the manor's silent security system. It put an anti-magic field over the entire manor. Yeah, well, obviously we need to see all the evidence, but it is funny watching just how much Tymora is willing to just go all out and be like, I'm in charge here. It's like how Blackwell plays his game and just takes control of the courtroom. Tymora is just like, I'm going to talk, you're going to listen. Here's my argument, you're stupid, you're dumb. We did a search of the house and we found the stolen sword in the defendant's bedroom. Oh, because evidence never gets planted in these games. It didn't look like she was going to run, and Crown Prince Oster told us to stand down. There we go. I had a feeling he was going to come up again here. So we just kept a close eye on her. William Frege was in a bad mood that night, so he had already locked himself inside his study. But an hour later, we entered the study and found him lying dead in a pool of blood. The lock was still engaged and no one teleported in. The perp must have temporarily disabled the lock using this sort of spell eating. Yeah, well, she just has to make the judge give the opening statement. Yeah, watch that happen, because that's fun. We have testimonies that say the defendant was seriously in debt. She must have murdered the victim to get a part of his inheritance. Well, I guess we already know the answer to that. Their case against Beatrice is just as we predicted, and we already have a countermeasure to disprove the existence of any motive. We sure do. I have to assume Steelwind already knows and has a countermeasure of her own. All we have to do is present that to the court. Yeah, but that's not what we do here. We press everything. 7 statements, damn. Orium, have a glass of water. We didn't want to cause panic after the sword was stolen, so we activated the manor's silent security system. It puts an anti-magic field over the entire manor. Wait, doesn't the sword make the wielder immune to magical effects? An anti-magic field would have only disempowered everyone except the thief. Yeah, well, we didn't know what the sword could do until after the investigation. Up until then, we thought it was just a dusty old artifact. That seems pretty negligent. Are you sure you're qualified for your position, Orium? Another thing to add to the list of things Tyrion would never say. Don't you start with me too, alright? I get enough of this shit from the prosecution. The situation was unprecedented for everyone involved. One could hardly expect an ancient artifact to have magical capabilities. Anyway, what did you do after the theft, Commander? We did a search of the house and we found the stolen sword in the defendant's bedroom. That's how we knew it was her. Again, you're going to need a lot more than that, my guy. Think of past cases. That seems like a strange conclusion to jump to. My client hasn't stepped foot in the Frege Manor for years. After being gone for so long, her bedroom had to have been repurposed for something else. I'm not sure about the details, but one of the defendant's sisters refused to let the servants disturb that room. I guess she was hoping that her sister would come back one day. Laugh. I'm gonna call her Laugh. We had a yawn, now we're gonna have a laugh. Laugh. I'm guessing she did it. I'm gonna call it. I always call the person who did the murder, and I'm gonna say that she did it. Laugh did it. Laughing all the way to the bank. It didn't, because I'm sure she was still in the will. It didn't look like she was going to run, and Crown Prince Oster told us to stand down, so we just kept a close eye on her. We're gonna zip to Steelwind, aren't you? Nope. Alright. And why would the prince tell you to stand down, Orium? Well, here it is. Crown Prince Oster knew the defendant well. He was confident that she wasn't going to flee the scene. Are you sure he just knew her well? If I recall correctly, the prince is still very adamant about her innocence. The Crown Prince is vouching for the defendant? Damn, again, Tymora knows exactly what she's doing. Is this true, Miss Steelwind? I don't give a damn. It is. However, I believe that the evidence found throughout the investigation proves the contrary, or I wouldn't be here. Are you sure your judgment isn't simply being clouded by your jealousy? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tymora knows how to push all the buttons. I can't... at some point, though, she's going to be on the back foot. At some point, Steelwind's going to pull something out and be like, hey, I took this case for a reason, bitch. Your fiancé was previously engaged to my client, after all. Ooh. Ooh, that's spicy. That's interesting. And we do know that Steelwind does tend to have a bit of a jealous streak. I wonder how much that's going to come up, but what's this a bit about a previous engagement? The pre-betrothed, as it were. What's up with that? Orium's like, wait, what? Either he didn't know or he knows and he doesn't want the prosecution to get started. It's like, no, don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. She's just fuming. Just the volcano over here. You're enjoying this a bit too much. Yes, she is. William Frege was in a bad mood that night. Like, she didn't even... I asked for this. Tymora literally just said, hey, present the thing. And I'm like, no, I gotta press all the stuff. William Frege was in a bad mood that night, so he had already locked himself inside his study. I don't think having her prosecutor was a good idea. Well, that's why we were surprised she didn't recuse herself, but here she is. Did anyone see him enter the study? A few people. One of them was Laugh Frege, the victim's second daughter. I'm just going to keep calling her Laugh. I'm sure that's wrong, but whatever. She said that he was really irritated that night. Also, she's coming up as a witness, which just continues to make me suspicious of her. She said that he was really irritated that night, so he went into his study for some peace and quiet. I guess his meeting with the defendant put him in a bad mood. But if the manor was covered in an anti-magic field, how did he lock the door magically? I'm not sure how, but the locks in the manor aren't affected by anti-magic fields. They're probably that artificery that we keep hearing about. How? The magical locks generate a... The magical locks generate a smaller anti-magic field around themselves. They have an anti-magic field. Great. The rules lowering is already in full effect. You've activated my trap card. Oh, yeah, you thought that was the plan. I did this instead. I knew you would do that, so I did this. I knew you were going to do that, so I did this. The two fields cancel each other out. It's like multiplying two negative numbers together. I'm going to be honest. I have no understanding of these things. Is what she's saying true, Beatrice? Yes, overlapping anti-magic fields are a well-studied phenomenon. So that sounds like a really poor security system then, because you could just counter the anti-magic field with another anti-magic field. Boom. Security system sucks. We'll just have to take her word for it. But alright. An hour later, we entered the study and found him lying dead in a pool of blood. Who was the person that discovered the body? Let me guess, it was Laugh. The same person who saw him last, his daughter, La Frega. The same person who saw him last. Yeah, I'm getting some what's-her-face from Case 4, Garrow or whatever her name was. I'm getting some vibes of that. That case in general. Poor Laugh. This must have been traumatizing for her. No, she did it. I'm calling it. She did it. Did anyone else accompany Laugh when she happened upon the body? Yeah, supposedly one of the servants got himself locked in a nearby storage closet? How do you manage that? And he heard the violent attack through one of the air vents. That does not count. When he finally got out, he told Laugh and they went to the study accompanied by some knights. Okay, that's a little better. There better be no balloons. Oh, there might be some balloons. You just noticed, but what happened to the male main character? He is sitting in the gallery. So, Tyrion and Celeste, his bodyguard, they are here. Apparently they had a bit of an argument with Ruby, but Ruby is handling this one personally, so they're around. But Ruby is still a defense attorney, so she's got her cases and he's got his. The lock was still engaged and no one teleported in. The perp must have temporarily disabled the lock using something like the Sword of Spell Eating. This sword is integral to the case against my client, so why is the description of its capabilities so vague? To be honest, the sword is magic, but it doesn't seem to behave like any spells we know about. Oh, is this gonna be a supernatural example? And we can't identify its magic like we usually do with artificery devices. According to Lord Haraldson, its powers are demonic in nature. Ah! So we're back in the supernatural territory. This is probably gonna establish some rules that are gonna apply to our boy's eyes. But if you ask me, it's all a bunch of hooey. Yeah, we didn't ask you. Anyway, it's obvious that it doesn't follow the normal rules of magic. Wait, what? What is it, Miss Tymora? It's nothing. Cuthbert is watching from the gallery, so he must have heard that too. Again, yeah, our boy is here. Could the Eye of Horus have something to do with demons? Like Psy'Min Sezz. No, focus on acquitting the client first. We can worry about Cuthbert later. Either way, we've tested the sword's magic on similar locks. When used correctly, it is capable of disabling the lock on Lord Frigga's study. Okay, established. We have testimonies that say the defendant was seriously in debt. She must have murdered the victim to get a part of his inheritance that she is not privy to because she's not in the will. You have testimonies? Wouldn't an official record be more valid evidence? Miss Tymora, you and I both know that your client's creditors are not the type to keep such records. So you're admitting that you're relying on hearsay. One could conclude that. But it doesn't matter if we can prove that this debt exists. The Frigga estate is unimaginably vast. Debt or no debt, that amount of wealth would be a tempting boon to any individual. She has a point. House Frigga owns all of the banking houses in Wyverngard. People can only dream of having that much power and wealth. The prosecution's case against Beatrice is already really weak. We're not even sure why they bothered bringing this to trial in the first place. And we already have testimony from someone else that directly contradicts the commander's testimony. Once we present that to the court, this case is as good as ours. Oh, you optimistic little. Sweet summer child. She must have murdered the victim to get part of his inheritance. Well, okay, first of all, we haven't even gone in here yet. Hey, there's Frigga again! Frigga's back! I wonder if Frigga's gonna actually testify again. Will she be, returning? I don't see Laugh in here. There's our boy William. Conjuration, Conjuration, Illusion. So, Frigga, House Frigga is supposed to be a conjuration house, but I guess, Beatrice decided to do another thing. Wallace is our necromancer. Eris. 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 The boss. Why does Ruby still call the Eye Taker the boss? This is curious. I wonder if that factors into the argument they had earlier. Everyone else here is boring. Transmutation, jack shit, jack shit. Spells, nothing. Okay. A magical, this is the same thing. Sort of spell eating, blah, 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 blah. Traces of illusion magic, we need to keep that in mind, and then of course that's tying us. Are we playing as Ruby or still when we're playing as Ruby? We're still the defense. Trace of magic. Okay, so this wasn't an update. This was a completely different thing. And of course Beatrice is completely blind, so that's going to factor as well. But this is probably what we're asking for, because as Ruby said, this is, pardon the pun, blindingly obvious. Kiss my ass. Your Honor, the prosecution's case against my client is riddled with holes, and the prosecution's proposed motive is the largest among them. What do you mean, Miss Tymora? Of all the elements of this case, the motive is the most believable. Your client would have had much to gain through her father's inheritance. That may be, but that's assuming my client had anything to inherit at all. What? How did you not know this? Surely you knew this and had something ready, Steelwind. You're not an idiot. I mean, sometimes you're an idiot, but this is basic. Your Honor, my client fled from her psychologically abusive father 5 years ago. Watch this case be over in 10 minutes. That'd be hilarious. How do you think he would have reacted to that? Lord Frege was a petty and vindictive man. Do you honestly think that he'd leave his inheritance to someone who disobeyed him so egregiously? No, he'd do everything in his power to make sure she didn't see a shred of his wealth. Yes, we're already well aware of this. Good, thank you. The moment she slams her cane down, you notice the prosecutor wince a little. Yeah, I don't like admitting this, but we knew it, and we're gonna have to admit that we knew it to save face. But she quickly hides it and regains her composure. On the night of the murder, the victim made the decision to disinherit the defendant? Oh, that sounds not true. On the night of the murder, the victim made the decision to disinherit the defendant. However, his murder deprived him of the opportunity to submit his will to his attorney. Whoa, that's going to be different than the story I was under the impression of. This only further proves the defendant's motive. She would have needed to act quickly lest her father submit the changed will. I'm afraid you're mistaken, Steelwind. William Frege I'm going to start that sentence over entirely. William Frege didn't disinherit my client that night. He disinherited my client 5 years ago. I have witness testimony from Miriam Frege, William's youngest daughter. Ah, okay, so this is literally Miriam's older sister, as we theorized. By her own admission, her father disinherited my client shortly after she fled the household. What? Steelwind, you suck at this. You are no Miles Edgeworth. She never brought that up during questioning. Perhaps she's not as amicable to you as you thought. Yeah, Miriam doesn't actually like you. Miriam was sort of pushing your buttons during case 2 as well. If you don't believe me, why don't we call her into the stand and ask her ourselves? That might bite us. We might regret that. What are you planning, Miss Tymora? I have no idea what you're talking about. Again, experience versus rookie. Well, it's clear we won't get anywhere until we hear from Miriam directly. Bailiff, please escort Miriam Frege to the stand. She's going to step in it, isn't she? She's going to goose something up. I just noticed Miriam and Beatrice actually have the exact same sprite, where they've got that whole to the side looking down with their hands together sort of position. Ah, the sisters. Miriam, is the defense correct? Did your father disinherit Beatrice 5 years ago? Well, Miriam, what are you going to say? Yes? And you didn't think it was necessary to share this information with me? Well, you never asked. I'm gonna slap you once we leave this courtroom, woman. If I recall correctly, you also were tight-lipped during questioning this morning. Are you staying quiet for your sister's sake? Maybe. I just don't want to get slapped either way. The witness just lost her father. You can hardly expect her to recall every detail that's relevant to the case. Which raises a more concerning question. How did you extract this information? Who knows? Maybe I just have a way with people. Arya's just like, okay, I regret having to want to face you in court. This sucks. This sucks. I want to lower the difficulty. This is a pain in the ass. Regardless, I suppose you have a point. I'll give the witness the benefit of the doubt. For now. Oh, she's not even going to testify? She's just like, yeah. In any case, Miriam... Okay, here we go. In any case, Miriam, please testify to the court about how you found out about Beatrice's disinheritance. Yes, of course. Okay, this is gonna benefit Steelwind, I have a feeling. One day we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from our home. She left a note for us, and in it she renounced her name and denounced my father. My father later called me and my sister into his study. He told us that he'd completely disowned Beatrice and removed any claim she had to the Frege estate. It was probably a threat to us in case we ever chose to go down the same path she did. He wanted to make an example out of her. This all happened 5 years ago. Alright, that sounds pretty straightforward. I'm not really sure I want to counter anything she just said. That all seems pretty damn beneficial. Moving on. And are you sure this all happened 5 years ago? Yes. Even now, I can remember everything clearly. I can imagine something is probably happening or is going to happen with one of these witnesses, including this one, because we've done it to her before, where something is coming up that Tyrion is seeing certain things being said internally that are contradicting what they're saying, but we have no way of knowing because we aren't there, and we literally reprimanded Tyrion earlier, kind of admonished him a bit for using those, you know, mind-reading eyes a little bit too freely. And I have a feeling that's going to bite Ruby, and it's going to bite her hard. But we'll see. That's probably why she's up there. Wait, she wrote a letter? A blind person wrote a letter? It could have been in Braille. She could have dictated it to a servant. It could have been either or. Even if it was forged, it wouldn't change the fact that her father disowned her and removed her from the will. So even if the letter were a forgery, I don't think that really matters. But you do bring up a point. You do bring up a valid point. We may go into how that works. We'll see. I mean, there was a blind character in one of the Ace Attorney games that used to play chess by letter. So blind people can write letters. Even now, I can remember everything clearly. I see. Her speech is getting slower. Is she deep in thought? Nightgrave seems extremely concerned for some reason. Also that, why is Wallace up here? That is curious as well. We haven't established, because Arya made a point of bringing Wallace up as an assistant. She's never had an assistant before. What is his role? And Laugh was there with you at this meeting? I still think Laugh is the murderer. Yes, she was. Damn it. I need a drink. However, Laugh couldn't have possibly been there. Her words are getting more slurred. We also notice that her balance is slightly swaying? Wait a minute, what's going on here? I mean, I can understand her losing confidence and maybe being a little intimidated by the veteran or whatever. Yeah, number one, why Wallace of all people? Number two, what's happening to Arya right now? Literally, I'm a little concerned here, actually. She's starting to... Is Eris messing with her? Like, what's going on here? Hey, are you okay? Of course, oh, damn. Okay, she went down. She's out. What the hell's going on? All right, this case has definitely been, going places here. I will have that hydrate as soon as my sweaty hand can move the lid off this thing. By the way, for those of you who didn't know, I uploaded my first ASMR video that I've ever made to my YouTube channel, and it's basically me playing with my SodaStream fizzy water. So if you have any interest in ASMR, go check that out. Also, some fun Lethal Company clips of Jay and me both getting killed. Anyway, what's up with Arya here? What the hell's going on? Yeah, Beatrice is like, what happened? I'm literally blind. I can't see what's going on. Whoa, wait a minute. By the Scaled Lord, is that blood? Wait, blood? What the hell's going on? Blood? Someone do something. None of us can move. Our sprites are stuck in position. Bailiff, find anyone capable of casting healing. Is that why Wallace is there? Wallace is a doctor. Well, I mean, he's training to be a doctor. Wallace, get to work. Escort them to the court immediately. Wallace is going to jump in. After some scrambling, a couple of healers are able to help Nightgrave stabilize the prosecutor. Okay, so Nightgrave got help, but he did it. Is that why he was the aide? What's going on with her? Why did she collapse? And if she had Nightgrave with her, why did she know she was going to collapse? What's going on? In all the chaos, we caught a glimpse of her. There were deep wounds and blood on several parts of her body? She must have used some kind of illusion to hide them, but her disguise is completely dissipated now. What the frick? Are we gonna investigate the murder of Arya? Before Steelwind is taken out of the courtroom, we catch her whispering something into Nightgrave's ear. We see a look of confusion from him. I see a look of confusion from a lot of people. But he nods and makes his way to the witness stand. Uh-oh. But not before passing a message on to the bailiff, who seems equally confused. What is going on? What the hell is going on? Mr. Nightgrave, explain yourself. What is going on? Why was Miss Steelwind so gravely injured? She literally just is cut up. I'm sorry, but I wasn't actually here as Miss Steelwind's aide. I was here as her healer. Were you just standing beside her casually casting mend wounds? And why didn't mend wounds mend her wounds? I thought mend wounds was more effective than that. If she had cuts on her body, that seems like something you would be uniquely positioned to rectify quickly. Her healer? She needed a healer for her party. The truth is, Miss Steelwind was violently attacked at noon today. Oh, that might have been House Frege. That might have been someone who was trying to keep Beatrice from being Well, wait a minute. Why would they do that? House Frege doesn't give a damn about Beatrice. Well, maybe the rest of her house might. I guess William may not have, but everyone else could have been fond of her. She was in critical condition, but she insisted on prosecuting the case anyway. I owed her a favor. Why do you owe her a favor? She tried to throw you in jail. And she asked me to channel my necromancy to keep her wounds closed during the trial. So you were literally just channeling healing magic while she was doing her thing. Well, you sucked at it. That or you ran out of mana. Scaled Lord! Why didn't she just recuse herself? She must have known. If anyone else tried to prosecute Beatrice, we would have won handily. I mean, we were winning handily already. Nevertheless, she showed up to prosecute because no one else would. And she did it all despite the risk to her life. It almost makes us respect her a little. Almost. Anyways, is there any need to prolong this trial, Your Honor? What? Even you must acknowledge how weak the case against my client is. In addition to that, Miriam's testimony shows that my client had nothing to gain from her father's death. Are we going to get another prosecutor in here? Is it going to be a new character? Is it going to be someone we already know about? Watch it be the Eye Taker or something. Someone who's just like, oh yeah, I'm a prosecutor, you know, no biggie. Nothing to gain from her father's death. Miss Tymora, Miss Steelwind's been gravely injured. Yeah, I know, but I got a job to do. I'm still on the clock here. And you're still only concerned about... The only thing I'm concerned about is seeking justice for my client. The trial needs to be postponed. Maybe. I don't know. We don't know what the protocol is in Magic Land. Even so, we cannot move forward until we find another prosecutor. There we go. And how long do you think that will take, Your Honor? Do we move on to a day of investigation, or is someone just going to step up? It's almost been 12 hours since the murder took place. Yeah, these guys move so damn fast, it's amazing. I still like to joke that we were doing, what's-her-face from the second case. We were doing her trial before the body was cold. This gives us, what, 36 hours? After that, every magical trace at the crime scene will fully disappear. But there might be someone... If Steelwind had simply allowed another prosecutor to work this case, we wouldn't be in this situation. Ruby's just continuing to be smug as hell. She took a risk and now she has to pay the price. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? That's a little cold. No wonder people hate you. We're not exactly proud of winning this way, but if this is what it takes to win, we won't let an opportunity like this pass us by. The judge is clearly unhappy with this turn of events, but it's out of his hands now. Well, due to today's unprecedented events, I suppose have no choice. Alright, there's another one for the typo list. There aren't any prosecutors available to immediately take Miss Steelwind's place. How do you know that? We will take a brief recess. After that, I'll deliver my verdict. Ah, okay, so something may happen over the recess. Eris, don't you dare! Eris is gonna do something, and I'm not gonna like it. You just lost a... Oh! Well! I didn't see that coming. Your Honor, I'm afraid you can't pass a verdict just yet. I don't know, she is a lawyer. Lawyers are supposed to be scummy. You called it! Where did you call that? You can't say you called it unless it's in chat. That doesn't count. I did not call that. I wonder if Tyrion is up here because he saw something. Is someone lying? And is Ruby gonna start making vague... Oh, everyone called it but me. Okay, sure. I believe you totally. Is Ruby gonna start... Well, I mean, let's just see where this goes. I'm not sure Tyrion is qualified to do this, but alright. You can't pass a verdict just yet. Celeste is just back in the gallery like, what the hell? Why would Tyrion jump in, though? He's a defense attorney. Mr. Cuthbert? Cuthbert? What the hell are you doing? Ah, there's our angry face. There's our, wait a minute, we're no longer in the catbird seat face. I don't know. But what I do know is that there was a massive contradiction in Miriam Frege's testimony. But it looks like things aren't going to be as simple as we expected. But I like to save my progress. What the hell is this room? I thought we were going to continue with the trial. Are we going to have a flashback to earlier? Or are we in a ballroom?